And the doors are now open. We'll just give everyone a couple minutes here. If you have joined us, thanks for joining here with EditShare and T2 Computing today. And we should get started in just a few moments. I see some people trickling through. Just a reminder here that while you're on, we're happy to take any questions in the Q&A. If you have any questions for our panelists, feel free to put them in the Q&A, and we'll be monitoring that during today's chat. Thanks again for those who have joined. We're just going to give another minute or two, and then we're off to the races here with EditShare CEO Conrad Clemson and VP of Professional Services Walter Viegas over here at T2. So just a moment here, and then we'll get started.
Walter, we're waiting for folks to find their way in. Remind me, where are you physically today?
I am in New Jersey.
And that looks like the family game room.
That is it. This is my this is my man cave that I built right before, finished it right before the pandemic started. So we've not been able to use it for family and friends.
But that's okay. You got the flat screen. You got the foosball. I think I see shuffleboard. Yep. I love shuffleboard, man.
Yep. It's that's definitely a fun game. That's been it's a family game right there.
That is a family game. And only second, I think, to the game Risk in terms of creating family fights.
Oh,
at least in the Clemson household.
Well, we've been a big supporter of Hasbro games. We bought pretty much every single board game you can imagine during this pandemic. And Risk is definitely one of those that we play a lot.
Nice. Nice. So being a guy in New Jersey, does that make you a Jets or a Giants guy?
Well, see, that's a great question. And it all depends where you live in Jersey. So I'm in Northern Jersey. So I'm a Giants fan. And I have a house down further south as well, like a shore house that we have. And that gets a little sketchy down there. It starts to get into the, Philly area too. Eagles. So you get Eagles and Jets fans a lot down there.
Yeah. Well, look, nothing personal, but then I just can't like you. Being from Boston and
from Boston,
England, yeah. 2011 bothers me much less than 2007. That really pissed me off.
All right, regional rivalries aside, we are here today in partnership, EditShare and T2. We've got some people in the stands. Pass the torch right over to Walter Viegas. How is everything going?
Great, thanks, Dan, and thank you, Conrad, for joining. I think it's been, I'm sure everybody says this. It's been one hell of a past year. We've seen. I want to say we've probably seen it all already, but I'm still learning and still adapting it to new challenges as we go. But it's definitely been something to talk about, and we hope to cover some of that in today's call as well too. So, for the past year, we've been really transforming and helping customers transform what media and entertainment looks like from a post-production. And sometime around April timeframe, I stopped counting, but we had done just about around that timeframe about 1,000 edits that we had converted over to be remote editing. And so the days of having edit rooms, multiple monitors, and everything, and all of the facilities to be able to produce and create content, all of that got just flipped upside down. And we were really fortunate to have a couple of really solid options for our customers early on to leverage their infrastructure, to leverage the investments that they already had made in both storage and editing equipment, the machinery, to be able to really function in a collaborative workflow. And so we were really able to help a lot of customers continue to do that. We saw a lot of success in that. And now we're starting to see, that success manifest into, what's next. And that kind of thing brings us to the point of this conversation. So, and that being said too, I think, EditShare and Conrad, you've been really busy too, winning awards along the way. Yeah. NAB, right? And IBC, you guys were awarded for some of your innovations. So perhaps you can share with our guests too some of the things and innovations that you've been busy doing for the last year.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. Look, to sort of kick things off, I joined EditShare mid 2019. I teamed up with a private equity firm, and I got to tell you, we just loved everything we saw inside of EditShare, and we were like, this is a gem, and we can do more with it. And I got to tell you, Walter, um, up until March 11th of 2020, we were having a great time. We had a big tailwind, and we were really engaged with customers and transforming and driving a business forward. But boy, did that change in a hurry. And look, let's just be honest. 2020 was a very challenging year. It's a challenging year in the industry. It was a challenging year for this country. It was a challenging year for planet Earth. It's hard for me to believe that it was 11 months, 2 weeks, 5 days, and 4 hours ago that we shut down and sent everybody home. That's a very, very challenging year. And you could go, who's counting? Look, everybody's counting. First and foremost, everybody out there, look. I hope you guys are all staying safe, and we're very, very hopeful that that the end of the biggest challenges are behind us. I'll share with you guys. We had a town hall yesterday, about 100 people on the phone, and I was just like, hey, show of hands, how many EditShare employees have been vaccinated? We're up to 4 out of about 100 people who were there who've already been vaccinated. And I'm just like, yeah, that's the beginning. But a big part of the story of EditShare has been how we're taking ourselves and trying to transform and be a better partner in the industry. And as we shut down about a month ago, one of the phrases that we coined is, hey, are we fishing or are we cutting bait? And one of the things we said as a company about this time is we said, look, it's pretty rough out there right now. We were out fishing, catching a lot of fish, maybe even getting some whales. Look, it's bad weather. Bring the boats in. We're going to really focus, and we're going to think really hard about what do we need to do for the company, for our employees, and for the industry. And we really started focusing on what has changed and how is that going to impact guys like T2 as our partners, or any number of our clients out there. And we centered on really thinking about our innovation to supporting people not working from the office. And what I found that was really interesting in that is, look, in the beginning, it was really simple things. I used to be in downtown Manhattan, and now I'm out at my home in New Jersey. What do I need to do to get from here to there? And a lot of that was really about accessing physical gear that was already present, and deployed for doing real work. But as we progressed on through the summer, and quite frankly, we brought out a lot of innovation. You mentioned NAB. I would throw in IBC. I would throw in IBM. By the way, ironically, I would also throw in. We were recognized at the end of the year by a group called Built In for being one of the best places in Boston to work. And I'm thinking to myself, it's really great, except the only guy in Boston is me. Everybody else is at home. But as we think about a lot of that innovation, we really started thinking about, first and foremost, getting stuff up into the cloud. And you and I have talked about this a little bit. Look, necessity is the mother of invention. We did a lot of inventing, and we did a lot of inventing by ourselves, but we did a lot of inventing with you guys and our clients about helping people to find new ways of doing work. And the thing that's really interesting is, things are starting to open up a little bit. And I'll share with you in the audience here. We're a global company. One of the things I would tell you is I would go, gee, outside of a couple of countries, fundamentally, Asia is now 100% open for business. We're back to doing client dinners. We're doing face-to-face meetings. We're doing a lot of the things we used to do. But here's the other thing that's really interesting. A lot of the stuff that we worked on together in the last year, we're doing those things too. There are a lot of people out there who are going, I don't want to go back to the office. Gee, we can do this better if we just put this all up in a cloud. And that's really cool. And I think it presents us a lot of opportunities. How's that compare to what you guys are seeing?
Well, well, one thing I just want to mention, I'm glad to see that certain continents are returning back to normal, because I cannot wait to get back to the city, back to a restaurant, and meeting clients face to face again. Because definitely lacking that human interaction from a real, feel. But that being said, we're seeing a lot of customers doing, I mean, very similar. So a lot of our customers, especially in post, they had a tremendous amount of investment already within their company in infrastructure and things that needed for being able to produce content in a physical stand with 4 walls, 10 by 10 cubicles, or 10 by 10 edit rooms. And so what we've done a lot of is, for those, there's some companies that were able to break out of their lease, or their lease was coming to an end. So they were looking at things like co-locations, putting their equipment in racks as opposed to having a physical space, and taking the stance of like, well, we're going to be able to save on this cost, which is rent is obviously a big cost to any company, save on that cost. And now think about how, with the aspect of leveraging their environment, increasing in some, capacities. I think before you would think of editors, some of them didn't even have internet access, but now they all need internet access. And prior to now, a 1 gig internet was usually good enough. Now we're talking 10, where everyone's like, oh, I need 10 gigs because I need higher throughput, in terms of resolution to the customers at home. So we're seeing a lot of that adoption. And then to your point earlier, the cloud is becoming more and more a common thought process and then a common discussion, in the sense that, does it make sense to have tape, right? Tape libraries. Does it make sense to, even if you don't have tape, and I know, Conrad, you and I have mentioned this in the past, every post house has a room with about 1,000 hard drives and an Excel spreadsheet that one person only knows where everything is. So that is not something that you can maintain, especially in this new world that we're seeing, which is everybody is everywhere. Space or office is really no longer what it used to be, to, at least not used as it used to be. And how do you continue to operate and leverage your content remotely?
Yeah, no, you're really right about that, Walter. And it's funny because boy, I think like a lot of transitions, we see things happen, and you see a few early adopters go here or there, and so many times, like when you get those first few people, and somebody's going to, gee, I'm going to try to edit anywhere, I'm going to try to edit in the cloud. You go, why'd you go to the cloud? And you go, hey, I'm a techie, I always wanted to try to do it. But you know what? We've moved past that now, right? And I'll tell you, I think one of the things that I think we're starting to see from a lot of our clients is, look, to some degree, I think we've gotten a little complacent as an industry. And if we backed up about a year ago, we said, look, I've had this same edit facility for the last 10 years. I just need it to be a little better, a little cheaper, and a little faster, right? And you go, well, what about trying something completely different? You go, I'm going to do exactly what I did yesterday. I can do a little faster, a little cheaper, a little better. And then bang, in comes COVID. All of a sudden we're seeing, holy cow, we actually have a lot of different choices we can make. And I think what we're seeing is being able to answer the question of, well, what if we can do this anywhere? And honestly, it's not a technology decision anymore, right? Yeah, okay, maybe it's in your home. Maybe it's in your office, maybe it's on site someplace, maybe it's in the cloud. Look, the reality is this content is going to be everywhere. And the question is how do we enable ourselves to really think about turning that from a problem into an opportunity? And I think we're starting to see some cool stuff there. I shared with you, Walter, when we were doing kind of the warm up here, we're working with a major sports league right now, and they're putting out a mandate that says, we're never going to buy anything that goes into a truck or a data room. And if you just look at that as a starting point, you're like, well, why are you doing that? And it's funny, they don't talk about, well, we think this piece of equipment is cheaper than that piece of equipment. They go, hey, look, we think we can do this better, and we can create a better experience. And you know what? We think it gives us flexibility and capability. And I think that's something that's starting to be echoed across the industry. And certainly when I look and I go, what are we trying to do at EditShare? The thing that we're trying to recognize is we're going from a very, very simple use case. There's an editor sitting here, and his content is here, to, I don't know where the editor is, I don't know where the content is. We're going to make that all work, and so the idea of really being location aware, cost aware, and being on-prem, at home, in the cloud. And by the way, now checkbox D, all of the above. We not only can we do that, but as we do that, as we start embracing people, we're going, wow, there's a whole bunch of new things that we can do that make this actually easier if you've got the right technology partners, and if you've got the right channel partner and system integrator. Now we can put these really cool solutions together to do some pretty fun stuff together.
Right. And Conrad, you obviously you with flow and flow automation, those are really, really key in that you just mentioned. I mean, managing your assets, being able to have, you know, the right content and the right spot, because to your point, you can have content anywhere. You could be shooting something in the UK and editing in the UK, or you can have an editor in Los Angeles that's editing what's being shot in the UK, footage there, and having something like flow automation and flow keep track of where everything is, be able to move everything according to your policies, are definitely key to the future of what we're talking about, what we're seeing, right? I think the days of, hey, I keep all my content on my production disk until the show is aired. Once the show is aired, I'd move it to my NAS, and then I also maybe put a copy on tape. Those are very like, I would say, old school or traditional workflows. Now it's going to be things more intelligent, like aging policies. If it hasn't been touched in this many days, do this. If it has been touched within here, but it's been flagged for this, put it over there. Or go to archive, or go to Glacier, go to S3, right? And I think even to that aspect, when we talk about S3, I would say a few years ago was only considered a cloud technology, and now we're seeing S3 as not only a cloud technology, but one that's on-prem as well for those that are looking to replace tape. So I think all of this and flow kind of ties in a lot of that.
Yeah, and you know, it's funny that you pick up on that, because we so a couple of things. I'm going to roundabout just a little bit on you. Bear with me for a sec. But you know, one of the first things that we actually tried to really work on inside of EditShare wasn't actually the product itself, right? We actually started with how we as a set of technologists build product. And you know, one of the things I think we all feel very proud about is look, if you came and were engaging with EditShare, you know, in late 2018 or 19, we'd look like a very traditional technology company. Here's our roadmap. You know, we used to call our products by year. Here's EditShare 2017, 2018. About once a year, we came out and released product. We don't do that anymore. You know, we're seeing so many opportunities. Every 90 days, we're releasing new product, especially around Flow and EFS. And what that's allowing us to do is to migrate and to bring a lot more capabilities to our clients. Like, oh, you'd like a better Active Directory solution. Guess what? We have that now. Adobe Premiere Panel, got that. DaVinci Panel, got that too. Extensions to Media Composer to allow you to round trip capabilities, got that too now. And you know, we're continuing to drive that technology forward. And what we're seeing is our clients going, wow, like every time we start to work on our next project, we can just take whatever's coming out next, we can do it quicker and we can do it better. And I think that level of innovation and our ability to really understand what those end clients are trying to accomplish and lean in to help get there. You know, one of the things you were just talking about was storage here and storage there. Look, I would broaden that out and go, what we're starting to think about is, what is the policy to understand where to put content, how to migrate content, and how to manage it, and how do we think about federating namespaces? So look, if you just connect into your ecosystem, whatever that is, we'll go find all of that content and present it to you in a way that creates opportunities for you. And I think a thing that's really interesting about that, especially when we're talking about some specialty houses or people who are project focused, is, look, it used to be we go, hey, Walter, there's a tennis tournament coming up in Monaco. Let's get our team, we'll hop on the plane, we'll fly over there, we'll get set up, we're ready to go, shoot the content. Here we are, and we can edit away at it. Look, what we can do now is to go, you and I don't need to go over there. Get the gear up and over there, and we can just turn our chair and it's like, we're now editing content in Monaco this morning. Oh, the morning's over. Hey, let's come over and let's edit content for an event being done at Madison Square Gardens. And then this afternoon, we'll do the beach volleyball uh, uh, tournament that's going on out in California. You go bang, bang, bang. Man, you just got 3 projects done in a day that would each take a week in the past, just because of the travel time and the setup and teardown. It's a real opportunity for us to think about how we can fundamentally change the value proposition and the way in which we're able to tell our stories and get them out there.
Well, that's a good point, right? And really, it changes the way that we budget, even for media and entertainment creation production. So a lot of times, you look at the costs that go into it, which are the hotel, the travel, the car rentals, the rental of the equipment, the freelancers that you need locally, and there's all these other elements that go into it. And so when you now subtract that, right, and then you say, well, and I guess we've spoken about certain cloud functions right now may seem expensive, but only if you look at them as an add-on and not an actual replacement. And I think, to your point before, is that a lot of the technologies and workflows that we've been forced to do because of the pandemic are actually now really probably here to not probably, but are here to stay, because they change essentially the operating cost of what we were doing, a year ago. And it may actually be cheaper when you start putting it all down in terms of, post and production costs.
Here's another follow-on to that too. I think there are 2 other really interesting vectors that are very easy for us to gloss over, especially given all of the COVID stuff that's going on. One thing that's happening in our workforce and in our industry is we've got these young millennials coming up, and to be honest, I mean, Walter, you and I were, we're kind of from the same era, right? And we got, look, I got up, I put my tie and my jacket on and went in and sat down in the office. Look, that's not how these millennials are. They got a little bit of a different viewpoint on the world. And I think there's a really interesting analogy. If you look at San Francisco, just over a year ago at this time, you couldn't find an apartment. It was filled with software engineers who worked for places like Google and Twitter and Salesforce. And by the way, those guys did just fine on their option packages. So, when the world ended and everything shut down, those guys went to places like Tahiti or Hawaii. I mean, look at the guy who founded Twitter, right? This guy, Jack Dorsey. He's now got a beard down to his chest, and he's like, no, I just live in Fiji now, and that's where I'm going to be forever. You get this talent who went, hey, I don't have to live where you tell me I need to live. I don't have to plan to come to the office. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to work wherever I want to. And when I'm done working, I'm going to go sit in the beach and have a Corona or whatever it is that I'm going to do. Those guys aren't coming back, right? And there's real talent out there where if we can go and reach that talent and keep those guys engaged, we've got the ability to really drive our industry forward and honestly fundamentally change the way we create media and content in a way that's a win for everybody.
Yeah.
And it comes back to it's really easy to look at how much does this hard drive cost and how much does that Ethernet jack cost. But as we start to look at the larger and larger picture, the ability to go faster, the ability to attract talent, the ability, quite frankly, to make a better end product, whether that end product is what we make at EditShare, at software, or what you guys at T2 do with deploying complete solutions, or what our storytellers do in creating media. Look, if we can do a better job, man, that creates more value for everybody, and that's a really super win. And I think I think when we look at silver linings out of the last 11 months, 2 weeks, 5 days, and 3 hours and 28 minutes, is we're going to see some lasting things where we go, didn't know I can do that. Never going to go back the other way again.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. So there's, I have a study here that says there's 800,000 freelancers that are powering the TV and film and ad industry. And so if you just think about it, typically you would go find talent local to your region or your territory. Now, I think one of the changes, but at least I haven't looked, but I would imagine one of the changes that if anyone that has influence on job hunting, there should not even be New York, Los Angeles, Chicago, Atlanta. It should just be like, we need a freelancer.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. I need a freelancer. I need you to work Eastern Standard Time between this hour and this hour. That's it. It's no longer a territory. It's just like, are you available within this time zone hours?
That's right. That's right. And I think the other thing that's interesting in that is, there's a whole lot of technology vectors that were happening in the industry that have, quite frankly, continued to happen through COVID. And take just a couple of examples. So yesterday, Elon Musk came out and he said, "Hey, look, we threw a bunch more satellites up in the air, and we're moving the speed of our satellite internet service up to 300 megabits a second." Okay, look, you can do a lot of editing at 300 megabits a second. I mean, if we think about that and compare that to what you were getting in a building a year ago, we're getting up there. And I know, short advertisement, Samsung Ultra 20, right? But again, that's last year's cell phone model. Look, I just sit here and click it on. It says, "Oh, look, I have 5G. I go, "Really? Show me my speed." Look, I'm sitting here in the office just out on whatever Verizon happens to have out, nearby. I got 120 megabits of download speed.
Yeah.
Those are becoming the kinds of speeds where you can start to go, I can do real work with that.
Well,
it's not 10 gig, but yeah, I don't know. What do you think?
100%. I think with those speeds that you're talking about, you can record from camera, red camera footage directly recorded to the cloud. No camera card. It's ready in the cloud. You can have flow automation, seeing it land, create a proxy. It's available for editing literally instantaneously. But to give you a number that we use, we just tell you, we estimate about 25 megabits per second required per monitor for an editor to work remotely. So if it's a one monitor workflow, 25 megs. If they want to use two monitors, we recommend 50 megs. So 5G and Elon Musk's service, that's more.
They're getting there.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're getting there.
Yeah.
So I think that's going to be exciting.
Yeah.
Hey, I see we're getting to the bottom of the hour. You got a great prediction for 2021?
Well, I think my prediction for 2021 is going to be a lot of the things that we were touching on here, a lot of the automation, like the next generation of what, let's say, or the next iteration of working remotely. I think we're going to see a lot of automation being key, a lot of features that media asset management related features in our industry is really going to be a key component to this next year, as far as I can see. Right, I think we've really been able to solve the how do I master what I have, how do I make do with the content that I have and the machines that I have. But I think the next space or the next piece to that is, if I don't have someone that can move hard drives, move tapes, move things, like I need it to be intelligent. I need it to be not based on old workflows, but based on policy-driven workflows, as you mentioned, like aging policies or however you want to look at it. But I think those are going to be the features that are really going to make, I think, in this next year forward, make a lot of headway in our space. And of course, 5G, like we were talking about, that's going to yet even introduce a whole other change in adoption.
I got three things for you, right? Look, the first one is the second half of 2021 is going to be unlike any year that we've seen probably in the last 2 decades, as the backlog of TV, movie, online productions hit a pace that we have never seen before. That's going to get amplified by the return of live sports with live fans in the stadium, right? There's number one, production goes crazy. Number two, this is the year that we as an industry understand that what matters is software. It's got to be world-class software. It's got to be ruthlessly open, and quite frankly, it's got to be driven by the fact that our clients buy it because they want to, not because some vendor said, if you want X, you have to buy Y. That's a garbage way to do business. And then the third one, you and I are going to have more dinners this year than we did last year.
And I can't wait to go to Boston again. I went last November. We fell in love with the town, the city. So I'm a history buff. So even though I live in Jersey, I found a lot of love there in Boston.
You know, if you come up here this summer, I'll show you a real baseball team. It's called the Boston Red Sox. And if you come up in the fall, I'll take you to a football game, and it ain't going to be the Giants.
I did do a walkthrough. I sat on the Green Giant. So, but
Very good.
I'll take you up on that.
Green Monster.
Sorry, the Green Monster. Yeah.
That's okay, man.
Jolly
right.
Green Monster. Hey, thank you guys so much for an engaging conversation there. I don't know if there's any questions from the audience here before we let these gentlemen go. I know we covered a lot, and I really enjoyed listening. And I'm kind of hoping that we do something again like this in the future, because I think there's frankly a lot of topics that deserve a deeper dive, and especially as we move through 2021 together, T2 and EditShare, I think that it's pretty exciting stuff. I did make a recording of this that we'll be sharing out for those of you who may want to revisit, or if people missed, we can get it up online later this week and start sharing that out. And if anyone has any questions whatsoever, info@t2computing.com. It's a good place to start, and we can get the ball rolling for you. I don't see any questions really popping up here. Any final thoughts before we let them go?
Hey, Walter, Daniel, thank you guys so much for hosting such a cool event, for being such a great partner to EditShare. Really, really appreciate it. And for everybody out there who had the chance to jump in and join us, thanks for taking a half hour to hear what we've been up to and where we think we're going. Good luck. Be safe.
Absolutely. Thank you, Conrad, and thank you everyone that joined. Wish everyone well, and be safe, and be happy.
All right. Thanks, guys. Be safe, like everyone said, and we'll see you again soon. Take care.